It's an interesting question, right? And I'm not sure it's always the case because there really is value in content curation. In fact, social media is really good at content curation. Like, how many of you subscribe to blogs still versus watching social media and seeing what bubbles up? I think there's a shift that's happened, right? Where social media is good at discovering what's interesting. And so, content curation is good, and that's what social media does. So I wouldn't discount content curation completely. In fact, sometimes I describe my blog as reread everything so you don't have to, right? I think people like that. Like, I can just go there and I get it across all these sources, and I know he's reading 100 sources, so I don't have to. Like, I think there is a lot of value there, so don't discount that completely. The problem is, can you do that type of content curation across all of these things, or are you just taking what's easy to grab because it's easy to grab and that's why you're curating it? If you're doing that, then it's not as valuable as if you're saying, I'm going to look over everything that I can find and just give you what's really interesting and what's really valuable. Because then what happens is when you're writing something in content, you usually know it really well. Otherwise, you don't write it, right? I mean, for you to create that piece of content, you got to either research it really well, you have to be an expert of it, you have to understand it. You start writing halfway and you're like, oh, maybe I don't understand this quite as well as I thought, so then you have to go research some more, and then you create a piece that's interesting. When you're curating, if you're not doing it as a comprehensive curation where people come to you as the curator, then of course your other stuff's more interesting because you put more effort into it, right? And so then you really are an expert of that topic as opposed to just someone who grabs something trying to drive traffic, whatever. So I think that's where maybe the difference is. But don't discount content curation completely, because if it's great content, people will read it if you have an audience.